Next thing I saw was a blurry stone ceiling. My eyesight slowly returned and I managed to sit up. I was in a cave, and before me stood a familiar, mysterious face. I apologize for the violence, but I can assure you it was the easiest way. Where am I? Is this your hideout? Just a temporary accommodation so you'd be undisturbed for this meeting. Someone else used to live here till recently. You know who I am? Well, you're not Riza. Good. What did it take for you to figure that out? Since you're not whispering anymore, I can hear it clearly in your voice. I had a feeling that you couldn't be him since the first time we met, though. Which first time are you talking about? The generator in the cellar, when you pushed me. I see. You can call me the administrator. No other humans are supposed to be here, though. I assume that's why you're wearing the mask. You don't want to be recognized. That is correct. Whoever you are, you also saved my life. On more than one occasion. Presence here doesn't make any sense. You couldn't have come through the portal. The dragons would have noticed. That's where you were wrong. My arrival through the portal is what led the dragons to discover in the first place. Is that so? I crawled out from the hole in the earth that hid the portal. There were no guards to discover me. I appeared to expose the portal, but the dragons didn't know it was there yet. So you arrived even before Riza. That makes you the actual first human to come to this world. That's more true than you might think. Just who are you then? I may have arrived through the portal like you, but my story is very different. Before the fall of humanity, I was an engineer. I was part of a team that was formed to create bioweapons. Uh-oh. The task was to create these bioweapons in a country where their development hadn't yet been regulated or outlawed. These weapons were planned to be a low-cost alternative for poor countries to wage war, so they no longer have to rely on expensive drones and machines for warfare. I was to set up the lab where our bioweapon development would take place. It was a clandestine operation, set to be in the middle of the wilderness. The laboratory was an independent research and living unit. Provided everything we needed without having to rely on external resources or existing power grid. Everything was to be teleported right into the middle of nowhere, with no traces of paper trail to follow, so international communities and law enforcement would have no idea of our operations. The only connection to the outside world after setup would have been a two-way portal to our headquarters. We would provide everything we needed. While we already could teleport individual people, teleporting a whole building was another matter entirely. The solution was matter compression technology. Incredibly expensive, but operating the gray market was also very lucrative. Technology behind it was much more complicated than even teleportation, despite being based on it. While teleportation works by utilizing black holes with a beginning and an end, compression technology relies on a loop, keeping matter in a sort of limbo state until the loop is broken. Working with black holes was very complicated to begin with, but the shape required much more finesse and thus was much more expensive. I was to be sent alone to the lab, and the portal so the rest of them could arrive safely. Oops, if I press H. Ha! In case you didn't know, it is possible to use a portal to send someone to a previously defined endpoint. Therefore, it is not required to have a portal at the destination to be sent there. As you can imagine, this is also very dangerous. A single variable off by a fraction can mean the difference between landing safely at your destination and smothering in space. Of course, my employer did not want anything like that to happen. Not necessarily for my own sake, but because of all the unfathomably expensive equipment I had with me. Regardless, something went wrong anyway. Despite all their checks and safeguards, they could only minimize the risk so much. Even if the risk is a fraction of a fraction, sometimes you are just that unlucky. Sometimes it turns out that your bad luck is a blessing in disguise. Arrived safely somewhere in the jungles of Earth, it was not the destination that had been planned. I knew something was off, but nevertheless I set to work immediately. At the very least I can prepare the building. I would have shelter, and then I could begin preparations for our project. Getting the portal into working order would take more time, as it was a complicated process that could take several weeks. Things had gone wrong as I suspected. I would at least be able to establish contact with headquarters after the portal had been set up, and I would be able to return. While the teleporting the lab to the wrong location was certainly a costly mistake, I was still lucky to have my life. For long, I discovered the truth about the place I had arrived. While I was still on Earth, it was not the Earth I knew. It was the Earth of 65 million years ago. I knew that by utilizing black holes for teleportation, time travel was a theoretical possibility. Something even my company didn't dare to attempt, though. Teleportation itself was still a very new technology. And here I was, 65 million years in the past. The research station all to myself. The company would revel in the opportunity to study and profit from all the different life forms I could see. Oh fuck. This is the future. The Dragon World is just the world of the future. Fuck. Now that time travel is a thing, and yeah, I think that's what's happening. If only they knew about him. I spent the few weeks setting up the portal as planned, yet when I tried to re-establish contact with my employer, I was met with silence. Despite the time discrepancy, the portal should have been able to find my companies in the present. For black holes, sending something through time is no different than sending something through space. However, when we built the portals, we gave them a specialized configuration. It's only possible to travel through space by aligning them across the time axis. That meant that I, in the past, would still be able to search for portals in the present to connect with. My counterparts in the present, though, would not be able to find me in the past even if they tried. But I couldn't find them, not a single one. Even after checking the portal for its function, I determined that, for all intents and purposes, portals from the company should have been there to connect with. It was then that I had a terrible realization. The portals in the present didn't exist anymore, or were no longer operational. Maybe the blunder of teleporting the lab causes them to reconsider risks of using this technology. After all, it was already controversial and had been outlawed in several countries. I would have been surprised they decided to cut their losses, but it was highly unlikely that they would have immediately shut down every single portal and left me stranded without notice. Portal technology was still being relied on in several places in the present. In my mind, only one possibility remained: super weapons. Various nations have been using them as bargaining chips for some time. I didn't think the threats had become that serious, but one of them must have launched their weapon to destroy the majority of Earth. Oh, this was at the time of the solar flare. It could have been the result of malfunction, or perhaps the political situation had escalated. Either way, it was not possible for me to reestablish any means of communication to find out what had really happened. I sent myself back to the present with the right coordinates. Though this was a risky endeavor, and I also had to ask myself what was the present I wanted to return to. I was sure that if everything was even left of our world, the aftermath or a possible retaliatory strike would take care of the rest. In the end, I had to realize that whichever present did exist was likely not one that was worth returning to. It made my decision all the easier. Instead of returning to the Shoy civilization, I saw an opportunity. Rather than creating bioweapons, I could use the lab to create a new civilization shaped by my own ideals. I had all the necessary data and the most modern methods and machines at my fingertips. Besides, most processes had already been automated. In the end, I still used the lab for what it had been created for, using human and animal DNA to create beings that were mostly animal, but possessed a greater intelligence that allowed them to learn whatever we wanted them to. Wait, did you make the dragons out of dinosaurs. Or combining dinosaurs with humans. Oh. Wait, so we're still in the past. Is that what Riza meant when the world's going to disappear? Oh shit. As I didn't have any animal samples sent with me when I initially arrived, I collected them from the sources available to me. Automated processes mixed the DNA further across the samples. New abilities were added like enhanced armor, flight, and spit weapons to make the new creatures more effective in combat. The result was a number of different species, each tailored and optimized to fill a specific role in a war situation. Hormones allowed me to speed up their growth. With the lab's learning program, they could be educated in whatever manner I saw fit. My first concern was self-sufficiency. They needed the kind of knowledge that would enable them to come together as their own independent society. Luckily, the AI that automated all the processes in the lab was more than helpful. I unleashed the first generation of my creation, and as their leader, funded our first village. I thought we could really pull it off. As I saw that they could survive without my guidance, and also govern themselves, I knew my plan was a success. So that's when I traveled to the future to see how they turned out. I realized this new society would eventually be destroyed. I told myself that I would do anything I could to save it. Destroyed? What are we talking about? The meteor. You realize where we are? The Chicxulub asteroid is headed for us. With a diameter of over 10 kilometers, its impact will create humongous clouds of dust, throwing Earth into a literal dark age. They will block out the sunlight for over a year, killing off many species of plants that rely on photosynthesis to survive. As a result, animals that eat those plants will also vanish, as will those that sought sustenance from those herbivores. All in all, 75% of all species will vanish, and in terrestrial ecosystems, all animals heavier than a single kilogram will die. That would be 2.2 pounds, in case you didn't know. It'll be the end of everyone who lives here, every single dragon you have seen, unless we do something. What am I supposed to do? Do you not wish to save them? I came here to help humanity. Now you tell me this society, this whole world, is also on the brink of extinction? That is the truth. What kind of difference could a single person like me even make to save it? Right now, it's also a single person that presents its greatest threat. Riza? How? In order to stop the comet, we will need as much power as possible. We reclaimed all the generators he stole. Besides, how could a few of them be enough to make a difference for something like this? Don't forget that Riza is still out there, looking for more. Truth is, I don't know if all the generators we could gather would ever be enough. We only require enough power to avert the comet's path during a crucial moment. And even if this plan is possible, we'll need every single generator we can get. Wouldn't this also prevent humanity from existing? Which means we would never have come back in time to make the dragons? Or stop the comet? So my goal hasn't changed, I just need to find Riza. Yes, but you will need my help, and maybe the help of others. Know that Riza is dangerous. With his gun, he has a clear advantage. Don't think that he would hesitate to kill you if you were in his way. And what shall we do? Do you know where he is? No, but I think you'll find him soon. You can count on my support when that happens. I see. There's one thing that still doesn't make sense to me, though. Dragons have myths about you, but they don't remember you. They haven't seen any humans for who knows how long. How much time could have passed since you created them, and now? Many generations could take to forget. Why isn't there proof of your existence? I don't know exactly how long it's been myself. I realized what time period I was and that my creation was about to be wiped out in the future. I wanted to go to that future and see what they had become. I disabled the portal's time access safeguards, and thus enabled it to connect with others in different times. This also included that very same portal in the future. The generator of our lab being able to supply the portal with power for an indefinite amount of time, I was able to travel at any point in the future I wanted to. The entry and end point of the black hole would be the same place and the same portal, with the way traveled just being along the time axis. Since I could now search for connection points at any time period, I could look for my own portal in the future and pinpoint the moment its signal stopped. Comet. Exactly. I found that specific point in time and traveled to a future that was so close to that event as I could safely manage. After I arrived here, my escape from the portal's hiding place led to its discovery by the dragons. It and the laboratory were unearthed. I still don't understand how our portal found yours or why we ended up arriving at this particular time period. The portal you found was no doubt one of my company's. They must have been connected before, so the corresponding data for their connection already existed when you found it. Not sure if that could bypass the anti-time travel safeguards, though. Was it completely operational when you found it? No, it took a little bit of tinkering. Probably jumping the hardware safeguard in the process. Now, consider that connected portals travel along the time axis together. The data for their beginning endpoints are adjusted automatically. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to transport anything from one place in the world to another without also setting it through time. Since these two portals must have been connected at some point, corresponding data for connection between those two portals already existed. Using the same connection without changing any of the data, this would mean that despite the time discrepancy between those two portals, time still progressed linearly for them. I'm not sure I understand. Let me try to rephrase that. The portal you found and my own share a connection. However, while the connection is locked to a certain place, which is wherever the portal is at that very moment, it's not connected to a specific point in time. For us in the physical machines that are the portals, time passes linearly, we can't do anything about that. However, for the black holes, this isn't the case. Just as their entry points can be in different places, they can also be in different times. In order to not send something through time when we just want to transport something from one portal to another, the portals are anchored together in such a way that the time data is automatically synchronized. Essentially, this means that ever since you arrived in this world, the same amount of time that has passed for you has also passed in the place where you came from. I see, so despite being different time periods, time still passes linearly on both sides of the portal. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for you to send messages back and forth to each other. If they were not synchronized, the portals on both sides would stay connected not only to a single point in space, but also to a single point in time, thus making proper two-way communication possible. However, this is only possible through the connection that has already been formed. If we wanted to, we could also use our portal to send you back to your own time period, but to a moment before Riza even arrived here. But that would mean there would be two of me, right? Wouldn't that cause a time paradox? I tell you that would work. I assume a time paradox would only be if you prevent yourself from doing the time travel you accomplished. No one has studied time travel before, though, so if there are any consequences, I'm not sure of them. Most likely, an entirely new timeline would be created. There would be a timeline without a cat altogether, and in the new one, there would be two of you. It's becoming way too complicated. I apologize. To get back to your original question, I'm not sure how much time passed between the time when I left my newborn society and now. Since the portal was not designed for time travel, I have no way of knowing how the variables translated to our perception of time. It could have been thousands or even millions of years. How could the portal or even its power source still be operational after all this time? The portal received its power from the generator in the lab. These units were fitted with the absolute best technology we had to offer. It was designed to provide sustainable power, completely independent from any already existing network power lines. It gains energy from many sources: sun rays, Earth's heat, and movement, just to name a few. Keep in mind it had to power a whole laboratory and research station, while also providing being the energy required for all of its inhabitants and associated energy expenditures. Taking its power from Earth itself, a generator like this could continue providing power to the lab indefinitely. Speaking of which, why haven't I seen a single dinosaur since I arrived? Seems as if the Dragon Society expanded over the whole continent. Many still hunt on their own for sustenance, and as such, the original species they were based on have mostly vanished. As in direct competition, ours proved to be far superior. Also, they have probably taken measures against having big predators roam their cities and villages. Yet while the dragon population has increased tremendously, I found that by and large their society as a whole has not changed much. Is that why everything here looks like it was made for humans? I suppose so. The learning program initially used gave them knowledge about things and how to create them, yet of course those were only human inventions and designs. They never once stopped to think about that they should adjust how certain things look. Well, a lot of the furniture and objects I've seen look very impractical for a dragon. I was surprised at that too. But I have an explanation for this phenomenon. Don't forget that their genome was designed by an AI program to make them into effective bioweapons. The idea was to have them indoctrinated at a young age. After reaching adolescence, their learning capacity would be greatly diminished. This resulted in subjects that would stay loyal and be unlikely to change their desired behaviors. Instincts also play a role. I imagine they are very much at odds with their learned behavior. Instincts in animals never change. Instinctual behaviors will always be there. If a given trait has been programmed to their genome as an instinct, it's not very likely to change, even through numerous generations. So yeah, the result of this here, while initially made them learn a certain set of values and knowledge, found that expression of those ideas has hardly changed. And after I was gone, each new generation learned from its elders, and much of the initial knowledge and information was retained through all this time. Their genome, as a whole, did change, however, which is unavoidable over time. If they had been used as bioweapons intended, they would have been nothing more than an army of identical clones. I can see subtle changes in their behavior as a result. Some traits are still very much present in them. They are content with what they have and don't strive for more. They don't innovate or change, so technological breakthroughs or new inventions are a rarity. It's quite the opposite, really. They very much value tradition and their ways which have not changed much in all these years. I see. How much time do we even have left to stop the comet? In a few weeks, the comet will pass the moon and its gravity field will point the comet's trajectory toward Earth. This is when we will need to be ready. If we strike then, we only need to minimally affect its path in order for the comet to pass Earth safely. There won't be enough time for the inhabitants of this world to prepare if Riza steals our greatest assets. So it's all about Riza and the generators, isn't it? Indeed. By the way, I fixed the portal in case we need to use it. Did you break it to prevent me from being sent away? No, that wasn't me. Riza better not use it to escape. Trust me, the portal is our greatest asset. Programmed it with emergency coordinates. You should find yourself in a hopeless situation, feel there's no other way out, go to the portal. Make sure you'll only be able to use them. Only you will be able to use them. I'll keep that in mind. So, what's your plan? What do we do now? I'll resume my work, and you will continue yours. Fire Gariza. Administrator turned to leave. Wait, what's with all the secrecy? Why are you still wearing that mask? Why don't we pull our resources together and you show me your hideout? Don't you think it'd be better if you were completely frank with me? No, not now. A second later, figure had already vanished into darkness outside. My fall, I realized I wasn't sure how to get back to my apartment. Surrounded by trees and blanket of night, it was hard to make out where I stood. Walking through the underbrush, I realized that the lights on the horizon had to be coming from the village, and made my way back. I returned to my apartment without much trouble. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to see how much time had passed. Not having anything left to do for the day, I soon fell into a deep slumber. Seems there's nothing for me to do this morning, because they don't need me at the police department, not that I mind. Oh, right. Kevin was the college student. No, let's meet with the dean first. We'll probably get to. Ooh, like usual. Should be the right address. I'm coming! Oh, it's you. I was expecting someone else. You're a little early. Yeah, I didn't know how long it'd take me to get here. Better early than late, right? Oh. Hey, it's one of the kids. And who might that be? This is Emily. She's one of the kids I work with. Hello, Emily. Say hi, Emily. Hello. Okay, I need a better, child voice. Hello. I just have to bring her back to the orphanage real quick. Feel free to make yourself at home in the meantime, okay? Sure. You met Amelie again. Is this where you live, Eddie? Small but cozy. I'm back. That was quick. Being able to fly does have its perks, you know? Wait, you flew her back? Oh, I am a delivery flyer. She doesn't get scared or anything? No, she's such a brave little girl. So, what exactly do you do at the orphanage? I'm a volunteer. I help them out with whatever they need, and sometimes I take care of kids. They only have so many social workers. The ratio is about one social worker for every 10 children, so it's good for the kids to spend some time one-on-one with someone they know. I guess you could almost call it babysitting. But for the kids, we basically become foster parents. The older they get, the less likely they are to be adopted. She might be too old to be considered soon. A shame. Yeah, I know. I'm worried about what will happen to her if she doesn't find a family. We will still take care of her, of course, but it's not quite the same as having parents. I adopt her myself, but I don't think I care for her properly. Not as a single parent with my packed work schedule. So I'll volunteer as often as I can, because if I don't, who will? Someone needs to be there for those kids. It's very nice of you. Thanks, but for me it's not about being nice. I almost feel obligated to help, you know? Were you an orphan? And that was never adopted or something? Anyway, let's talk about something less depressing. Like what? Let me think. I still need to do a dare for you. I just remembered that someone died here recently. Here in your apartment? Cad. The electrical guy. No, not here, Celia. It's close, though. Barely a block from here. Right, the murder of the maintenance guy. I remember that. Wait, it was a murder? I didn't know that. I thought it was an accident or something. That's terrible. Sorry for mentioning it. Finding the first victim was already bad enough for me, and now I have to hear there was another murder in town. Wish I could get some good news for once. At least it wasn't you who was murdered. Because I heard about the orphanage, kinda got a little worried. That's a strange way of looking at it, but you have a point. That reminds me, I've got something I wanted to try on you. Try on me? It's nothing too dramatic. I read this magazine the other day and found a few interesting articles. Using her partial hands, she held the magazine to show me its cover. A rather bold-looking female was presented on the front, adorned with trinkets and rings, like rings and jewels. Various headlines gave me an idea of the content within. I made a lot of the typical gossip magazines back home. Lifestyle, the magazine for modern people. This issue even came with a set of fortune cards. I'm sure they're qualified to determine my fate. With articles like 5 steps to get the partner of your dreams, I'm sure they're qualified to determine my fate. Come on, it'll be fun! If you say so. What should we look at first? You decide. Alright, let's see. Here, this article talks about dreams and what they mean. You had any strange or recurring dreams lately? I've been dreaming of fire. Fire? That's interesting. Apparently it's a rather common symbol that can mean a variety of things. Another thing to consider the significance of the symbol to the dreamer. So, what does fire mean to you? Fire can be destructive, but also wild and passionate. For representing this issue or problem you can no longer ignore, similar to an actual fire breaking out. It also mentions prophetic dreams, so let's hope that yours don't fall into that category. I doubt they do. Phew. What about your dreams? It feels like they're different every night. Most of them are nonsense, but sometimes I dream of people I used to know. What do you make of all this? I mean, dreaming of people... I don't know. I think dreams are closely tied to memories, so... I think you're just getting like a strong mix of your memories in there. Or if you're dreaming about people you know. I don't know. The article concludes scientists haven't figured out exactly why we dream. It's a big mystery. Alright, let's move on. Oh, I thought you meant moving on from the magazine. Don't be such a sourpuss. There's some interesting stuff in here. Wow. Every time it's just like, throw the magazine in the trash. That dream stuff wasn't so bad. See, I told you this was going to be fun. What's next? Personality test. Didn't you always want to know what kind of relationship would suit you? I'd like to see a close relationship between this magazine and the trash can. Sure, why not? Let's find out. Okay, first question. Relationship, what role do you take? I like to switch it up every once in a while. Variety is the spice of life, right? Moving on to the next question. Wait, aren't you going to answer questions too? I'll take the test after you. I don't want to keep track of both our scores at once. Alright. Question number 2. What is your favorite dessert? Oh wait, that's not ice cream, that's cream cake. Chocolate cream cake, lemon ice cream with sprinkles, coconut souffle, red hot chili cookies, or what does this question have to do with relationships? What's a souffle? Souffle is a baked egg-based dish. I'm kind of ruined on eggs by a mom's shenanigans. Originating in France by affairs. Okay. So I guess it's like an egg-based cake. Flavorful base mixed with bean and egg whites. When baked, air bubbles in the egg whites expand, puffing souffle up over top of the dish. Signature French dish, derivative French verb souffle, which means to blow or to inflate. Huh. So probably not a souffle. Both chocolate cream cake and lemon ice cream with sprinkles do sound good, though. I'm gonna say the lemon ice cream. That's unusual, but sounds really interesting. I'd love to try some. Here's the next question. What is your dream job? Ooh. Oh, time to stray from being me again. Okay, Fuck. I'm so bad with kids. I'm just not a person who can provide the attention they require. Business person sounds like agony. But then again, when I think business person, I think cubicle, which it probably isn't restricted to that. Whereas farmer, you're out in the fields doing all like, there's farmers, like, that's like the big labor option. I don't know, I guess I'd probably be business person then. I don't understand the appeal of that kind of job. It really doesn't mesh well with my ideals. No more questions, are there? That's all of them. Now, look up the results. Oh, it says here results are outlined in the weight loss booklet that came with the magazine, but I already threw that away. The fuck? Why would it be there? Guess we'll never find out what kind of relationship would suit me. Yeah, how else would you know? No other way. I'll be out lost for the rest of my life. But now we get to the best part, the fortune cards. Why are two of the options like, I don't want to do that? And the third one is, hell yeah! Like, why can't there be like a slightly agree? Like my favorite tests that are like, rate your opinion on this on a scale of 1 to 5 are the ones that label it from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And apparently this one's goes slightly disagree, strongly agree. Those are your three options right now. That's what I was looking forward to. Me too. How's that supposed to work anyway? I mean, they're just cards. How can they predict the future? Apparently there are different schools of thought regarding the use of fortune-telling cards. The cards themselves don't know anything. They're just a tool. So the information actually comes from somewhere else? But where though? Well, one interpretation is that it's our subconscious who gives us the answers that we seek. Similar to how dreams can be interpreted, the interpretation of the cards is very dependent on the person itself and symbols they recognize the card's images. We recognize images that are relevant to our lives and that give us an idea of ourselves and current problems. However, that is just the most grounded interpretation out there. People usually associate something more paranormal with fortune cards. One of those explanations that the cards are a way to communicate with a higher being, a paranormal entity that knows more than we do and can give us subtle nudges using the cards. And who would that be? The explanations range from ghosts to angelic beings, one even involved humans. Really? Yeah, people would say you could communicate with humans this way. And then there was also something they called higher self. Higher self? Why do you know so much about this? Because I read the article about it. Oh. Okay, what should I draw for you? Why don't I get to be the one who's reading the fortune? Because I paid for this magazine, so the cards are mine. Okay. So what are my options? I can read your past, present, or future. What is it going to be? How fucked are we? Picture of the future is what most people associate with these readings. However, their purpose is to prepare the person in question for a possible future, rather than just predicting it. Good. Oh my. What is it? Card drawn is associated with drastic measures, particularly those with a final conclusion. This can be interpreted in many ways. It can refer to death, the ultimate conclusion. It can also mean many other things, like a violent outcome of a brewing conflict, or positive resolution of a long-running conflict. What do you think? I think that's told me. I think I know what this. Really? How can you already know about the future? Just say I have a hunch. It mentions resolutions to conflicts that have been brewing. There's definitely stuff brewing. I guess that's everything magazine has to offer. This really was interesting. I guess that means you had fun then. Sure, let's call it that. So, do you have anything interesting going on at the moment? I can't imagine what ambassador life is like. It's been busy. I thought this whole thing would go by quickly without any mishaps, but now it seems like there's always something happening. Oh, really? Yeah, I figured I'd come here or do the exchange and leave again, but apparently it's not that easy. It never is. Speak like you've had experience as an ambassador. Well, no, but doing deliveries is similar. People order something, I fly to them, exchange the product for payment, then I go back. It's basically the same thing. Yeah, sure. But things always go wrong. For example, imagine you have 2 deliveries to make and the first one goes smoothly, okay? I'm imagining it very hard right now. Alright, so you get to the destination's second delivery, and they actually check what you're handing them now. Turns out that you mixed up the orders, but you already delivered the first one. That's really not a pleasant situation to be in. Now you have to go back to the first family you delivered to, who by now probably knows that they got the wrong delivery, and exchange what you gave them for what they actually ordered. Right. But it turns out they didn't mind the mix-up. As a matter of fact, they have already started eating what they got instead. Not so bad that they aren't angry, but now you can't exchange the orders anymore, so you have to fly back to the restaurant and get the second order remade. Happens all the time. As a result, the people waiting for second order do get angry because their order has to be remade and delivered all over again. The plot thickens. They complain and, of course, get their meal comped. The restaurant can no longer sell that first order you still have, so the orders for both families are deducted from your paycheck, and you end up eating nothing but ramen all week again, just so you can make rent this month. That is unfortunate. And that's why you always double check your orders, because even a small mistake can have consequences reaching further than you think. Sometimes we just have to learn the hard way. I guess so. Anyway, what else have you been up to recently? Do you remember the stunt flying competition I told you about? Of course. Assume your participation is a given by now. Actually, I'm not so sure about that. I mailed the application earlier today, so hopefully it'll arrive before the deadline. Or maybe I should just fly it over myself. Showing off a few moves, that is. You should fly over anyway, make sure you get in. It'd be a shame if you couldn't enter because of technicality. Yeah, I really should drop by. By the way, could you do me a favor? It depends on the favor, I suppose. Come along, sir, there's something I need. You know some people at the police station, right? Yes. I think they're in possession of a map related to an underground building they found. I've heard about that. Oh, that's great. Maybe you can get them to hand it over? Doesn't even have to be the real thing. Copy would be just fine. What do you even need it for? Let's just say I'm interested in doing a little investigation in the place myself. What's so special about it? It's supposed to be the remnant of an earlier civilization, or maybe even something created by humans. Who wouldn't be interested in that? Eh? Yeah, sure, I'd pay a visit if I could. See, I think if you put your word in, we could easily make it happen. How do I even ask for something like that? They always say that humanity is interested in it. Honestly, they probably would be. Did you ask that for me, please? I can try. Won't probably say anything, but I could certainly try. Thank you, that means a lot to me. I didn't know you were into archaeology. I wouldn't care as much if it turned out to just be some old building. The whole thing about it being made by humans is what's really interesting. Why's that? Well, the myths wouldn't be very mythical anymore if that was the case. We'd have proof. And that's shortly after finding out that the humans are in fact real. Yes, what a time to be alive! So you believe in all of that stuff? Belief isn't the right word when you're standing in front of me, you know. That alone is a miracle. I get excited all over again just thinking about it. Speaking of which, all this excitement made me lose track of the time. Is it that late already? Oh, actually, I have places to be, especially I want to make sure my contest application arrives on time. Guess I should be going then, huh? For now, at least. I certainly wouldn't mind if you stopped by again sometime. Be any magazines involved? Actually, that magazine doesn't come out that often, so we wouldn't have anything new from them. Get a different one if you wanted to, though. Don't bother. Eh, if you say so. Anyway, I really have to go, so I'll see you around. There we go. Our free day, yay me. Oh. Wait, it's a new day? Oh well. I think that'll do it for this session. So, next time on the Angels of Scaly Wings, more talking with the dragons. See you guys then. Goodbye.